Hello from the Canon Academy Homeschool. Um, it's been a while. This has been a different year, and that's what this video is all about. How our 2025-2026 school year was different. So there's a lot going on. For one thing, with everything that's going on, I still have not made it to the dentist, so I apologize for that. Got caught in the rain today when I picked up my two youngest grandchildren at school, so my hair is like a little on the frizzy side. But that's life. So some of the things that are going on. This year, my two youngest grandchildren decided to try public school, and for various reasons along with that, my son pulled them out of homeschool and put them in public school. And I think for the most part, they adjusted pretty well. He did hold them back a year. For instance, the youngest one was doing fourth grade work here, and my son put him in third grade, and his older sister was starting to do fifth grade work here, and he put her in fourth grade. Now, part of that reason was because they'd never been in a public school setting, and he wanted to make sure they had time to adjust, and because they would already know most of the material, that would be helpful to them. Plus, it kept them both in the same elementary school, where if he'd put them in the grades that I had them in, the youngest would have gone to the elementary school by himself, and the oldest would have gone to the fifth grade academy at the local middle school. And he just thought that would probably be too big an adjustment for both of them. And so I do kind of agree with that. So that was something that I had to learn to deal with, and everything, not having them around all the time, because they've pretty much been around Monday through Fridays for most of their life here, because my son was a single parent and needed to work and things like that. So that was kind of hard to get used to. Now, on another note, I still had my oldest great-grandson to homeschool, and that kind of changed up our day a bit, because without the other two, there weren't as many play breaks. I offered them, but he realized that he could finish his schoolwork in an hour or two and have his days free, so he wanted to go home and have the rest of the day to do things at his house and spend time with his little brother. So, I respect that. It kind of opened my days. I do help a great aunt of mine. She is in her, I would say late 90s, mid to late 90s, and she had a fall back in November of 2025, and so I was out there 2 or 3 times a week for a while she healed. Now I'm down to about once a week, occasionally twice a week, and in the meantime, I still pick up the two youngest grandchildren while while my son has his treatments for cancer. He has colon cancer, for those who haven't watched the videos that might have mentioned that. So, you know, we talk in the car. Sometimes they get to stay here for an hour or two, depending on what time his treatment started, because he has really long treatments. Um, so, I get to catch up in that respect and stuff. And then on their breaks, I get them occasionally for a day or two and stuff. And then my great grandson will stay for the whole day. And they all have to do work pages at my house, even though they're on break. And now that he's found out about breaks from them and some of his cousins on the other side of his family, that's kind of become a thing. And so he'll stay the whole day and have lunch with them. They'll play and we'll do games and stuff like that. And they know that they're kind of learning games. We play Scrabble and Monopoly. We play chess and checkers. Different things like that. And then, on a good note, while I still have adrenal gland cancer in both my adrenal glands, it is steady, and I have not had to have a treatment since August. So we're keeping tabs on that. So those are some of the things that are different. Now back to the way I teach, because we don't have access to have a little group for group discussions anymore. So we kind of take turns reading some of the text as far as like science and history and things like that. And we discuss it between ourselves, the two of us, and stuff like that. We have done math in various forms, partly from workbooks, but mostly from this Calvert math book for 4th grade that I bought off of eBay, because the format they use now is similar to Alpha Omega's Life Pack books, because they were bought out on the homeschool division was bought out by Alpha Omega. So it's a little different, and I would say probably more expensive. So I like it, and I'll go over this in another video, maybe, unless I do have a little bit of time on this one. I'm about halfway through my time limit. So there are things like that. My great-grandson found out that the kids have STEM classes at their school. And I tried to explain to him that everything they've been doing all along with building blocks and Legos and paper airplanes and various other things like that were part of STEM, along with math and all of that. So now every Monday we have STEM Monday. And so for the last couple of months we have been doing different little science projects. We have built bridges using paper between books. We have taken styrofoam cups and built a bridge and to see how many books we could put on it before it collapsed. Various different experiments like that. Today, for instance, we did one with food coloring. Well, actually two with food coloring. We had a bowl with yellow food coloring in the water, and we had a glass that I pre-measured to make sure that the amount of water I had in the bowl would not spill over into the glass. And we put blue food coloring in that glass. Now when you put that glass of blue food coloring in, it looks like it's like the water's turned green, but it hasn't. Then we took a piece of paper towel and rolled it up, and we put it in each color, and you see whether the bowl would be the one that turned green or the glass would, and it turned out it was the bowl, and it took about an hour before it fully turned green, and he was kind of impressed with that. So we're doing different things like that. Every day he has to do at least one math lesson, and if it's something that we had already learned and studied a lot last year, and he understood it and moved quickly through the lesson, we would throw in another lesson if that next lesson was also easy. So that helped us finish out the 4th grade math book, because last year what I did was my great-grandson and my grandson were both in 3rd grade, but they were almost finished with the book. So we finished that book while we started the 4th grade book. Then my granddaughter was doing the 4th grade book I just showed you, and so she would study that with them, and then she would do some out of the 5th grade math book. And so we still had like 3 or 4 chapters of this Calvert math book to finish for 4th grade. So we took our time and did that, went over things very carefully. For reading, we're not using readers, so to speak. He does a lot of reading at home now. He's got the hang of it and found the books that fit his interest. So every now and then I'll have him read out of a history book or something like that, or like one of our history's lessons had to do with Louisa May Alcott and Laura Ingalls. Their books are actually based on their lives, and for the most part they're true. There might be a few embellishments here and there, which I suppose is why they always get labeled fiction when they're actually historical fiction, leaning more towards autobiographies. I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted here because we're getting ready to do a remodel again, so I have all this packaging behind me and stuff, and I hit the box and all of it's falling down, so if you hear like a paper noise, that's what you're hearing. So back to what I was saying. So sometimes I will have him read out of the Little House on the Prairie book, stuff like that. We also finished Shel Silverstein's book, Sidewalks Inn, and he and the grandkids loved that. We started it before they started public school, and I kept reading it with my great-grandson, and then whenever the other two came over, we would read that. And language arts with spelling, vocabulary, grammar, things like that. It was from workbooks. The complete curriculum of basic skills workbook, mainly, and a little bit of Brain Quest. So that's been most of our year and everything. Like I said, my next video, because I'm nearly out of time here, is going to be about how I work with the Calvert math book, and hopefully I will get this and the other video posted this evening, so that possibly you'll see it by tomorrow, which would be Tuesday, May 19th of 2026. And once again, I am planning to do these more frequently, but this is actually the first time in a long time I've had the room to myself with the camera I like the best on my computer. I'm not really tech savvy, so I don't have separate cameras and things like that, and don't really like holding my phone a lot and stuff. I haven't learned to edit, so if you don't like the quality of the video, well, just go to the next person. That's kind of my attitude from my cable days. So there we have it. I hope that this kind of made you feel at ease and know that life happens, and and that you can be flexible and learn to move on and forward. So until next time from the Canon Academy, I hope you have a good week. Thank you.